All right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you my cheat codes for growing and scaling multi-million-dollar businesses. There's certain things that have just worked and that I think other business owners have seen that works for them. I'm going to give you all my favorite things that I consider cheat codes for advisor business. This is exactly where I go to first because I think that it can get you those next levels. And real fast, those that don't know me, my name is Trayton Hughes. Former CEO of a company called Station Entertainment, former CXO of a company called Helpware, built and scaled businesses into the multi-millions. Now I invest as well, business advisor on several different companies. I'm just here to try to help and give back value to those who need it on the entrepreneurship space because it's a very hard world. And I wish this is the type of resource that I had when I was coming up as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to give you a few different cheat codes to growing a business. Number one, using influencers. We all know that influencers are coming up in terms of their popularity, and using them from a business perspective is massive. It doesn't really matter what kind of business you have. There's different types that you can use. From a B2B perspective, you can use business influencers. From let's say you have like a food product, you might be able to use mom influencers. Let's say you have a toy, you could use kid influencers. There used to be different means of trying to go out and get advertising mouth, eyes from, let's say, TV or radio or podcasts or different things. Even like on the grocery store that have pictures on them. There's local ads, there's mailers, there's email, there's all kinds of things, paid ads. Influencers are really the next frontier that I still feel like are way underpriced. And so you can get these people to have big audiences that are really tailored towards a specific niche. Usually, like, might be a horse influencer and have all kinds of different horse people that love horses. Someone might be a food person and they have all kinds of people that love food. You're going to get a really relevant person that's going to watch that influencer and follow that influencer. And so looking at using them as one of your advertising means is really a beneficial way. And whether that's you like them equity and partnering with them, or whether that's you paying them for their time or building an affiliate model where you get them paid per customer they bring in, all of them are hacks to be able to grow your business. I've used them on my new business. I've used them in a past business. We built a whole influencer agency in the past, which is how I know this world very well. But I can tell you it's still one of the most underpriced ways that you can advertise. Definitely look at influencers as a way to go. Number two, business advisors. So I met this guy who I think is a billionaire. And one of the things that I realized is he'd invested and built all these different businesses. And when I was asking him his keys to success, he really kept talking a lot about the advisors that he helped put on these advisory boards. And it made a lot of sense to me that if you have the right advisors who have the right connections and the right know-how, they can help you catapult to that next level faster. And I think people see it as, oh, I need to give up a little bit of equity and that's going to hinder my business. Maybe, but if you build in the right milestones where they have to earn it over time, and maybe they have to do certain introductions and you're very clear with them, you can probably tailor it in a way that's really going to be beneficial to you. So I've brought on advisors to my newest venture and they have big followings. So they're also influencers, but they've also built businesses. And it's been massive. The word of mouth that we're able to get out is great. And just the knowledge that they come with is also massive. I've also been on a number of advisory boards, and I can tell you, like, I really try to bring value to every one of the companies that I'm with, whether that's advisory or whether that's, or just them see around corners that they might not know are coming. All of that stuff is huge. And so altogether, you might be able to build out a board of 5 kick butt people for 2.5% or 5% total, and it's gonna be well worth it for you to grow. So another cheat code. Reviews. Everyone knows that basically when you're going to go try to buy a product or service, you're going to go look up, the first thing is reviews. If you're in a local city and you want to buy or go to a restaurant, you're going to look up the reviews. And yet most of us don't focus nearly enough on reviews, or we think maybe the reviews aren't relevant to our business. The reality is they are. B2B services, agencies, SaaS businesses, businesses, all of them reviews. Now different ones might have different review sites that you go to. So maybe a local one is using Google or Yelp, versus a service business might be using Clutch or Good Firms, versus a SaaS business might be using Trustpilot or G2. All of them have different places that you need to get your reviews, but get those reviews, because what starts to happen is that when people Google top local restaurants for this type of food, you're going to show up at the top if you have more reviews. The key to this is to make sure you also have a great experience. And if you have a great experience, you can ask for those reviews. And the more reviews you get, the better it drives your SEO, the better it drives word of mouth. And so that's really been the hack to how we grew our businesses in the past. Some of our businesses grew into multi-millions very fast because we realized that our competitors, even though they were bigger than us, weren't focused on reviews. So when you went and searched for our different field, barely any reviews show up at all. So we just asked all of our customers for reviews, and all of a sudden we were the top company in that space for that review site. And then all of a sudden we're just getting tons and tons of leads that we can't even keep up with. So much so that we had to build out a whole sales team and that we just kept scaling. And so really, reviews are one of the most underrated things that we all kind of out and just don't do enough. And I cannot talk about them enough. You'll hear me talk about them all day long if I'm advising a startup. It's one of the best things you could possibly do. Number three, build an interesting referral package. We all know that referrals, reviews are really the way to go. If someone refers you, you're far more likely to sign up with that company and service. And yet so many people are just like, I'll give you $50 or we'll just thank you for that referral. Do something unique. And so here's one of the ones that we're doing in one of our current businesses. If they can refer us 5 customers to us, we're actually going to send them on a retreat, on a actual trip. The trip probably costs us somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000, but the cost or the actual take home of those customers we get all together is probably upwards of $10,000 to $15,000. So it's well worth it, and it just keeps that person happy and hopefully review or sending more referrals to us. So think of something that's going to be unique that would actually be like, whoa, I would do that. Whether that's it's a trip or it's a really cool event or dinner or just a really unique gift. You could do money, but you gotta go really big with money. I know one person that did like $5,000 referral fee for anyone that sent referrals, and then sure enough, you got a bunch. But if you just do like $100 or $50, it just probably isn't enough. So do something unique that maybe isn't money, and you'll actually have a much better chance of referrals. When we rolled out the referral program, by the way, of the trip, all of a sudden we had 30 referrals come in that same day. So go figure. Next one is any cash that you have in your business is just leveraging high yield savings. Like I have cash sitting in a checking account, and all these high yield savings, at least for right now, they can net you somewhere around 4%. It's just free interest that you can accrue on the cash that you're sitting on. And then tied to that is leverage a business credit card. So many people I know are just using their debit or they're just spending as they have, but the credit cards can give you like back. And if you're spending thousands of dollars in a month, you might, between that and your high yield savings, you could make a few $100s extra in a month just off of your money, just off of smart spending purchases. So one of those easy, simple ones that definitely can yield you something about for sure. Another cheat code is, we've built businesses based on hiring people in a scrappy way, meaning we don't go pay for really expensive people off the bat. Typically what we try to do is look for really low cost individuals who have a very high upside potential. And so 2 places I look for: local college students, maybe they haven't graduated yet and they only cost $15 to $20 an hour potentially at this beginning. You can give them incentives to grow with you as a company. If they're hungry enough and if they have the right demeanor, they could do really well. And then also we've hired a lot of people in, say, Mexico. Mexico, you can go hire someone for $1,000 to $2,000 a month full time. They're college educated, fluent in English, really sharp people, giving them a great rate for them. And for you, it's a savings compared to what you get in the States. And we've built some really incredible teams based on this. If you're trying to build in a scrappy way and build your team, because we all know that building up your company means building up your team. Your team is going to help you to scale. Think about doing this in a really strategic way. Yeah, Mexico, hiring local college students, it's way better than going and being like, okay, I gotta hire this $70,000 a year person or $100,000 a year person. It just doesn't make sense for businesses when they're early on. Next one. This one was actually one of the hardest ones for me, is record a training with all of your secrets. And I'm kind of doing that right now, giving you all the secrets. But when you give all of the things that have made you successful in a training to your team, then it makes them able to go out and be just as successful, if not more successful than you. And when you have a team, that is exactly what you want. You want them to be successful. You're not going to do that by building some haphazard training program or not really building out a training program in general. A lot of managers and entrepreneurs I know, they end up just sort of training them on the job, and that doesn't really work. And so you actually being thoughtful with, all right, what are the 15 keys of how I've become successful here in this business that you don't want to tell people, but you actually think you need to because it's going to help them to be successful as well. And then building trainings and modules based on that. And the way that I like to do it is a video recording somewhere around 10 minutes, a written recording based on that video, exercise that they need to do to certify, and then them actually having to go back and record it back to you in a video as well, somewhere around a 10-minute video to explain back the concept, because teaching often is a great way to learn. So that's one of the last ones is building this training program that's going to give all of your secrets to your future employees. And yeah, they take it and run it with their own business, but oh well. If you have them on your team and they're a valuable asset, hopefully if you treat them right, they'll stay with you. And it's going to be well worth it in terms of what you can build. Yeah. Last little cheat code for you is just building networking events. No matter what type of business you have, if it's a local business, if it's a services business, if it's a SaaS company, do local networking events with those types of people. because as you start to network, people just introduce you to people. You get to learn, you get to know people more. And so I spent the beginning of this year just going to and throwing networking events. And all of a sudden, now I've got this massive network of entrepreneurs that I didn't have a year ago, even though I've been in the entrepreneurship space for a while. And now all these people want to invest in me, or I now want to invest in them. And we're doing business together, and I'm referring them customers, and vice versa. There's just a lot that happens with networking that people overlook often. It's actually not that hard to throw a local networking event. You just look for a local bar or restaurant, ask them if they can let you sponsor it for a night, and maybe they'll even let you do it for free if you have enough people that come and buy a beer, let's say. But all these relationships that you'll start to have will be well worth in the long run. So these are all my cheat codes. Building startups is hard. And I think there's certain things that you can do that pull levers that actually really do move the needle a lot more than other things. And these are definitely the things that in any business I'd be going into, implementing right away based on my successes with the previous businesses. If this is helpful, let me know. Comment below, please, what you found most helpful. And then also, if you could just comment, what do you want to see next? I'm really creating videos for you guys as entrepreneurs. So whatever you want to see, I'm trying to create. But I appreciate it. Thanks.